As I was going around visiting a lot of traditional healers as well as South African prophets, that was when I met this other man. The man that I met, he was from Malawi, but he was a traditional healer. This man, when I had met him, he then told me that I had came across this man whom I had dated. After dating that man, the man had caused all of this sickness that was happening to me. He said that by the time that the man was sleeping with me, he used to leave a lot of dirt inside my body. That is why my legs and my hands were so swollen like that. At that time, Brother Nashi, I could not even go to work anymore because I reached a point in my life whereby I could not even touch anything and I could not even walk because my hands were so swollen. So that man who was from Malawi promised me that he was going to assist me. He then told me that we were supposed to get some red garments and a yellow garment. So what he used to do with that red and yellow garment is that he would take one and he would tie it on my right hand, then he would take another one, then he would tie it on my left hand, and he would tie my legs as well. Then he would take a needle, then he would start stabbing me with a needle, and each and every time after he had finished stabbing me with a needle, and by the time that he would start removing the yellow and the red garment that he would have wrapped around my hands and my legs, I would see that it seemed as if my body was rotting from the inside. One could see that there was a lot of black fluid that was coming out of my body. The more that he kept on stabbing me with those needles, the more that the rotten stuff kept on coming out of my body until I was able to heal. Then I started going back to work. This traditional healer who was from Malawi, he had told me that the man that I was dating at that time, because I had met this other man, so this man, when I started dating him, when I got sick, I thought that maybe it was his wife or maybe something was happening to me. But that traditional healer who was from Malawi said that it was not the wife who was responsible for all of this sickness that was affecting me, but he said that this man, he had a lot of evil charms. So these evil charms, they were the ones that were affecting me. Each and every time that this man would sleep with me, then the charms will be inserted into my body. He would then leave those charms in my body. That is why my legs and my hands were getting swollen like that. When I saw that this man was able to cure my disease like this, there was that doctor, the one that I told you about in the last message. This doctor, when I had dated him and after he had done some things that made me to think that our relationship was kind of like promising, and when I had started trusting him, that was when he chose to break my heart. So I then went back and I spoke with that same traditional healer who was from Malawi, and I told him that there was this other man who I used to work with and he had given me a heartbreak. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to hurt him as well, that which doctor said that it was just an easy thing. All that I was supposed to do, he told me that I had to buy a small bottle of mineral water and I was supposed to bring my panty. So I went with my G-string. On the second consultation, I then went back to that man's house who was from Malawi, holding a small bottle of mineral water. In my handbag, I had one of my used G-strings. He then took the G-string and he pushed it inside that bottle that had the mineral water, and he told me that I was supposed to drink some of the mineral water after he had pushed that G-string that I had given him inside that bottle. He then told me what I was supposed to do. He said that whenever I get that opportunity, when I was at work, all that I had to do was that I had to drink a little bit from that same bottle that still had the mineral water and that used G-string. And after I had drank some from that same bottle, I was not supposed to swallow the water that I had drank. All that I had to do was to go and spit that water in front of that doctor's office, the same one that I used to date. This was quite easy for me. So when I went to work, I had that bottle of mineral water that had my undergarments inside it. And when I saw that it was those hours whereby a lot of people won't be walking around, I then pretended as if I was just passing through his office and I had already drank that mineral water, but I had not yet swallowed it. So when I was walking from my station, passing through that doctor's office, I still had that water in my mouth. As I was passing through that doctor's office, the same one who had given me a heartbreak, when I made sure that there was no one who was looking at me, I then started spitting at his door. When I was done spitting on his door, I then went on my way. I then returned back to that doctor and I wanted some Lucky Charms because at that time, Brother Nashi, I had this other credit card. So this credit card, I don't know what was happening on that credit card because it kept on topping itself up. Instead of me decreasing the limit, my credit limit, I actually increased the credit limit. So I was so much in debt with the bank that I was banking with. So what would happen each and every month is that when I would get my salary, then the bank will take a huge chunk from the money that would have been deposited into my bank account. So I was always broke. And when I saw that I was broke like this and I was trying to finish off my house and I saw that I could not afford to finish off my house, I then went and I visited that same traditional healer who had been assisting me all along. I spoke with him and I told him that he was supposed to give me some medicine, a kind of a medicine that was different from the medicine that he had given me before. Now I wanted a Lucky Charm medicine that was going to give me money. Then he said that it was fine. He said that for this magic to work, I was supposed to bring some sperms that I would have gathered from my body. The way that I was supposed to do it is that after sleeping with a man, then I had to make sure that the sperm that the man had left inside my body, I had to take it out as much as I could. And he had given me this small container and he had told me that I should place that sperm inside that container that he had given me. After doing that, I was supposed to return with the sperm to him so that we can do the Lucky Charm that was going to give me a lot of money. He then proceeded with pushing a ritualistic snake through my private parts. After he had pushed that ritualistic snake through my private parts, he then pulled it out. The way that this snake looked like, it seemed as if it had the legs of a millipede. That was how that snake looked like. He then told me that I was supposed to go and sleep with a man. After sleeping with a man, I should return with that man's sperm.